Hey folks, welcome back to our Dice Tower preview. I'm Mark, and today we're taking a look at Levitation, Masters of Magic. Levitation is brought to you by Joe Magic Games. It's for 2 to 5 players, ages 12 and up, and games range anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. In Levitation, you are a student of America's 3 great magicians, Harry Keller, Howard Thurston, and Alexander Herman. You will learn skills from each, then add your own flair to illusions to make your show stand out and wow the audience. Each time you choose a die from a great master, you will also activate each illusion you already know based on the chosen die, and then gain the advantage over other magic practitioners who are also learning and performing. No stage of the time was as big as London, so you will make your way to that venue. You will learn many secrets and see many places. You will follow in the footsteps of the Masters of Magic. So your goal here is to create the best magic stage show possible and gain as many points as you can in 3 rounds. Each round you will take 4 turns, and at the end of the 4th turn of the 3rd round, the player with the most points wins. So setup on this one is very straightforward. You have the main board where you'll be placing levitation cards. So you'll shuffle those up and deal them randomly to the board face up. Now, each player will choose a color. You're going to get your score marker as well as your turn markers, as well as 2 acclaim cubes. Now, you have in your color admit 1 tokens or tickets that you're going to be accumulating throughout the game, but you don't start with any. Now on the board you'll see the 3 Masters of Magic, and this is where the dice pools will be placed. Up at the top is where you'll be tracking the rounds and the turns, and then you have additional spots for gaining points at the end of the game. Also, you have your flair tokens and your supply of acclaim tokens. And you have the round marker, which is actually a magic trick in itself. Pretty fun. So at the start of the turn, each player will shuffle up their turn tokens, drawing 1 at random. This will dictate the player turn order for this particular turn. Now, you also have the round marker. You'll make sure you're on round 1, 2, or 3 with that. And then if you're the first player and there are no dice in play yet, then you'll take the dice and add them to the cup, roll them out to the board, and separate them into the appropriate masters. Now, it's important to note that on your turn, if there's ever a master that doesn't have any dice, you have the option of re-rolling all the dice and replacing them. Then on your turn, you're going to be choosing 1 single dice from one of the 3 masters. Now, each of these masters is going to give you a different type of action to perform. So starting off with Alexander Herman, if you grab one of those dice, then you can go to the admit 1 chips, find the ones of your color, and grab 3. Or maybe you chose a dice from Howard Thurston. Now, the color of dice is very important here for this one because you have to find on the board a matching illusion, and a lot of the illusions will have icons in the top right corner that match your dice, and typically it's one or another. So you have a couple options on each of these cards. Not always, but typically. Now, in the final version of the game, these dice are going to all be custom dice, and that's why you see these with symbols on them. They're related to different types of magic. Or maybe you've chosen Harry Keller. This will allow you to place, assuming you have some on hand, one of your admit 1 tokens. And potentially you're looking for spots out on the board that have an open city. If there is one, you'll place your admit 1 token there. Now, the thing is there's 3 possible types of rewards. So you can get additional acclaim tokens, and we'll talk about what the acclaim tokens do next. But you can also get flair tokens, which you could add to a card that you already have. And these flair tokens can also be turned in for points if you so choose. However, there is a way to get additional points. If you find one of the cities that net you points, then if you can make a connecting path, you have to have 3 chips in play, 1 in each of the rows, and they have to be orthogonally connected and or diagonally. As long as there's a connecting path between the 3, then you will net the points that it calls for. And at the bottom of these different cities, you'll see a dice as well. You'll be able to activate cards based on that dice color. Or you might be placing these admit 1 tokens in the areas of the board that will net you points at the end of the game. So at the very top of the board here, we have different icons that match the different illusion types of cards and magic. And if you place one of your tokens there, then you're creating sets basically. For every 4, you could get 10 points. So you might use these for in-game scoring for sure. And then you've got a smaller area of the board where you're looking for flare or acclaim cubes or tokens and admit 1 chip. So these are going to net you points as well at the end of the game. So taking advantage of these throughout might add a lot of points when the game comes to an end. All right, now let's take a look at these illusion cards and how you activate them using your acclaim tokens. Now, the cards have several symbols and things to take note of for the different dice. You have the blue, which represents illusions that are gadget based. You have red, which is illusions that are camouflage based. And you have yellow, which is sleight of hand. Then you have black, which is technology-driven illusions. And then you also have green, which is accomplices that you're going to use in your illusions to fool folks and so forth. But really, those are things to keep in mind because they relate to the dice that you're going to be using to activate those cards and so forth. Now, there's also different levels of illusions from small to large, basically saying that you're playing in a small venue to a large venue. And those are indicated by the silhouettes of the different animals, from the smallest mouse to the largest elephant. So those are all icons to keep in mind, but what you're looking to do here is activate cards based on the colored die that you chose this particular turn. So you're looking for those icons on each of the illusions. Maybe you have a whole bunch of green cards. Well, you can activate all those if your chosen dice was green. However, you have to pay the cost. All the cards you have to pay in acclaim cubes. And what's interesting about acclaim cubes is that once you pay the cost on the card, they're just activated. You don't actually lose them. So at the end of your turn, you'll regather all those, which is really nice for future turns. But you'll activate those cards, and at the bottom of each of the cards is bonuses and icons. So you might be getting extra points, or you might be getting cards. These icons are going to do all kinds of different things. And I really like the ones that give you points based on a number of dice that are not on the board. So a series of green dice that aren't on the board, if all the green dice are off the board, you're gonna get a ton of extra points for that card. And some of the cards might allow you to place an additional admit 1 token. So these are gonna really change up how you play and also which dice you're gonna be actively going for on every one of your turns. And so you'll continue this way, gathering cards, gathering chips, gathering the different acclaim cubes, getting bonuses, and in the end, you hope to have the most points, and at the end of 3 rounds, you hope to be the master magician. All right, folks, just a reminder once again, this has been a Dice Tower paid preview, and everything you've seen here has been in prototype form, so keep a close eye on the campaign for any changes that still may occur. Now, with that said, I really liked the historical aspect of this game. The fact that they use the old-time artwork for the illusions, and there's some flavor text at the bottom of each of the cards to tell you a little bit more about those illusions. Really interesting, actually. And the fact is that, you know, it's a race to some degree to get the most points here, but I do like the trade-offs that you have to make between the different types of areas that you want to place these admit 1 tokens in. And they included a simple magic trick, which is actually the round marker, which is pretty fun because this is the one where we have a magic ball and we're going to throw it away and hopefully it will reappear. Hopefully. Oh, look, there it is. All right, folks, if this looks like something that would be of interest to you, I'm sure they'd appreciate your support. So I think that's it from me. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.